Hi, my name is Jonathan, a TA here at Crescent School of Gaming and Bartending, and today we're going over 6 to 5. Now, when it comes to 6 to 5, it's good to know that your white checks are $1, red checks are $5, green checks are $25, black checks, you're looking at $100, and in some casinos, you're going to go ahead and see that gray might be $1 or baby blue. So, when it comes to 6 to 5, that means that we're giving a blackjack payout. Some games are 3 to 2, some games are 6 to 5. So it's important to know what your table is paying out when it comes to blackjack. In this case, we're going over 6 to 5. So every time you see a bet out there, that's a red check. You're going to go ahead and follow the red check with a red check. A red check gets followed along with a white check. Then you also have a green check. Your green check is going to be followed along with a green check and at the same time be followed along with a red check. Your black check is going to be followed along the same thing with a black check, but this time you're going to get 4 red checks. And then you have something that's known as even money. Anytime someone is betting less than $5, you're going to go ahead and pay them even money. In this case, you can see here, 3 white checks is going to get you 3 white checks. So we just went over what's known as color coordination. But why is a white check following a red check? It's known as 20%. 20% extra of what the bet is. So in this case, 20% of a $5 red check is going to be $1. 20% of a green check is going to go ahead and be $5. 20% of a $100 black check is going to be $20, which is 4 red checks. And again, even money gets paid. Even money, anything less than $5. So now we're going to go ahead and show you guys some practical examples of what a 6 to 5 pay would be on a bet. Now let's talk about 6 to 5 and when you do the payouts. As you can see right here, we have what's known as a blackjack. Now what is a blackjack? That's when the player has an ace and anything in value of a 10. For example, jack, queen, king, or a 10, followed with an ace. That's going to give you a 21. And as far as the dealer, making sure that you also don't have a 21 so that you don't have a push situation. In this case, you can see right here that they obviously have 21 and we have a 4, so they go ahead and win. Now, when you are taking care of a blackjack, you're going to take care of them before you even flip over your card, right? So in this case, I can see that they have a $5 bet. They have a blackjack, so we're going to go ahead and pay them out. Remember, we're going to go ahead and pay them out 6 to 5. So how did we do that? Every red gets followed along with a white. So we're going to go ahead and bring this over to their bet, and we're going to size in, size in, size in. And that is how you go ahead and pay on a 6 to 5 blackjack payout. Now that we got this one out of the way, let's go ahead and show you guys some more examples. Second example, we have a green check, which is known as a $25 check. Remember, every green is going to be followed along with a green, and every green gets followed along with a red. We're going to go ahead and bring that over to the bet and size in. So in this example, we could go ahead and see on this bet, they have 3 red checks, which is $15. Now, when it comes to $15, 3 red checks, we're going to go ahead and follow that with 3 red checks, and every 3 red check is going to be followed along with 3 whites. And you'll go ahead and size in. So when it comes to this example, we can see that on this bet, we have a green check with a red check on top. We're going to go ahead and separate these checks. And remember, highest denomination closest to the dealer. Before we touch the check, we're going to go ahead and clear our hand before we touch, clear our hand after we touch. Now, what we're going to do is every green check gets a green check, accompanied with a red check. Every red check comes with a red check, accompanied with a white check. When we go ahead and send this out, we're going to put it with the highest denomination closest to the dealer, descending to the lowest amount. And then we just size in. So on this example, we could go ahead and see that on this bet, they have 3 green checks and 3 red checks. Remember, we're going to go ahead and separate these checks. And remember, highest denomination closest to the dealer. Before you touch the checks, you're going to go ahead and clear your hand. After you touch the checks, you're going to go ahead and clear your hand once again. Now what we're going to do is bring out those 3 green checks. Remember that 3 green checks is going to be accompanied with 3 red checks. We see that there's 3 red checks out there. We're going to bring out those 3 red checks, which get accompanied with 3 white checks. When we send this out, we're going to go ahead and make sure that this is easy to be seen for the floor. Bring it out and size in. So on this example, we can see that there's 1 black check, 2 reds, and 2 whites. Remember, we're going to go ahead and separate these checks, highest denomination closest to the dealer. Before we touch these checks, we're going to go ahead and clear our hand. After we touch the checks, we're going to go ahead and clear our hand one more time. Now, as we can see on the bet, we're going to go ahead and bring out a black because it follows with a black. Remember that every black gets accompanied by 4 reds. We see 2 reds out on the bet, so we're going to bring out those 2 reds, which get accompanied with 2 whites. We see 2 whites out there, and remember, this will get paid even money. So we bring out the 2 whites. We're going to go ahead and stack this up, but before we stack it up, we're going to go ahead and say 1 black going out. Since there is black in action out there, it won't be an approval, it's an alert. We're going to go ahead and bring it out and then go ahead and heel. So because we already went ahead and proved what the payout was, we brought it out and we did what's known as a heel. Now, a heel is a universal sign in any casino known as a payout, which shows that we already went ahead and paid them out. So on this example, we can see on their bet they have a stack of green checks. Now, when we go ahead and cut these green checks, we're going to cut it out in sets of 4. We're going to follow the same rules as before, which is clearing our hands. When I see these, I'm going to look at it as 100, 100, 100. So what I can do is I can bring out 3 blacks. And remember that every black gets accompanied with 4 reds. So I can see this in 2, 4, 6, which would be $60. Remember, when you cut this out, you're going to bring out the highest denomination closest to the dealer. When I send this out to the player, I'm going to go ahead and say 3 blacks going out. In this example, it is an approval since there is no black in action on the outside bet. So we're going to go ahead and say 3 blacks going out. Remember, since we already showed what it is that we're paying out, we set our approval call. They went ahead and approved it. We went ahead and sent it out, and we healed it. Remember that that is an offset. An offset is a universal language for it's paid out. Now remember, when it comes to 6 to 5 payouts, not every single player is going to take the dealer into consideration. There will be things that look complicated when it comes to their bets. Now remember, as long as you follow step-by-step procedure, it should become very simple for you. Byron is going to go ahead and come in and explain to you guys a separate way to show you how to do these type of 6 to 5 payouts.
So we're going to be talking about a different method for 6 to 5. So this time it's going to be a little bit more math oriented, but don't worry, the math is not that hard. So if you remember from the previous example that Jonathan was discussing, so every red is going to receive a red and a white. Instead of trying to think about it in the color method like he was describing, we can also look at it as a numbers method. Like instead of thinking every red gets a red and a white, we can think every red pays $6 because that's what it receives. That means if I have 2 reds, I'm going to pay $12 because every red receives 6. So I'm going to go through a couple of different things, different examples that I can show you on the table that will help make you understand how this works. In my opinion, I feel like this is a more superior way in order to do 6 to 5 because you'll actually know exactly what you're going to pay in the end, assuming that the bet isn't too complicated. So let's start simple and we'll work our way up. So right now we have a $5 bet that's sitting here. And if we remember the chart, $5 or every red is going to pay 6. So I'm going to bring out $6. And then I'm going to go and pay the player. Simple as that. Now let's see what it looks like if we have multiple reds. So in this example, the player has a $15 bet. And just as before, every red is going to receive $6. So if I have 3 reds, like here, I'm going to look at each red and count 6 in my head. So I have 6, 12, 18. That means that this player is going to receive $18 as payment. So I'm going to bring out 3 reds and 3 whites. I'm going to stack it up, and then I'm going to pay him. Not bad. Now let's see if we have 2 different colors, like green and red. So in this example, we have a green and we have a red as a bet for the player. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear our hands, separate the colors, same thing as always. Now I see a green, and the color chart says every green receives a green and a red. But if we went the numbers method, every green will receive $30. So I'm going to pay $30 for that red. And as we remember, every red, because there's a red on the bet, every red is going to receive $6. So the total is going to be $36. And then I'm going to stack it up and then pay it out. Now let's move on to the next example. So this time the player has 2 green and 2 red. With 2 green and 2 red, let's start with the green. We said every green is going to receive $30. So if I have 2 green, that means it's going to be 30 times 2, or $60. So I'll bring out $60 first. Next in the back, I have 2 red. With 2 red, like we said before, every red is going to receive $6. So if I have 2 red, I'm going to pay $12. So I'll bring out $12. And all I'm going to do is combine and then pay. Now let's move on to just a couple more examples. So in this case, the player happens to have 1 black, 1 green, and 1 red as the bet. Let's start with the black and we'll work from there. So every black is supposed to receive a black and 4 reds. But if we want to think about the numbers, every black is going to receive 120. So let's just bring that out to start. Now, if you wanted to add this up in your head, it's going to be a more professional version or a more professional way to pay it. But I'm just going to bring it out in increments just so you can visually see what I'm talking about. So here we have 120, so the black is paid. Now we're going to talk about the green, which we said pays 30. So let's just remember 30. The red pays 6, so the total is 36. So I'm going to bring out $36. And then I'm going to combine my payment and then pay it out. And because there's black on the bet, I'm going to make sure that this is a heel since I can't really size into the black. Simple as that. Let's move on to the next example. So following this example, this time the player happens to have 1 green, 3 red, and 2 white. So let's just break that down so you can see it, and I'm going to show you how we're going to pay it. So starting with the green, every green pays 30. So let's just remember that in our head. We're going to pay 30 already. Let's move on to the red. There are 3 red. So every red pays $6. So that means 6, 12, $18. So I start with 30 plus 18. I'm going to be at $48. The last one is 2 white. And 2 white, because it's less than $5, is just going to receive even money. So I'm just going to pay an additional $2. So I'm at 48 plus 2. This bet pays $50, which is just 2 green. And then I'll pay it out. And there you go. All right, this is going to be our last example. So this time we have what I like to refer to as a rainbow bet. We have black, we have green, we have red, we have white. So we have a little bit of everything. Now, let's try and see if we can do this all in our head. Let's start with the black. The black is going to pay 120. So let's remember 120. The green, which there's only one, is going to pay 30. So 120 plus 30, 150 is where we're at currently. We have 2 reds on the bet. Every red is going to pay $6. So 6 times 2 is 12. So if I'm at 150 plus 12, I'm going to be at 162. Then we have $2 remaining, which is just even money. So $164 is what I'm going to pay. So let's bring that out. And then we're going to stack it all up and heal the payoff. 1 black going out. Now, it was a little bit fast, but that is basically how the other method works. We're going to look at the dollar value that the particular color pays. We're going to multiply that value as many times as we need based on how many colors are there. And we're going to try to keep a running total in our head. If you can add the entire thing up in your head, that's always going to be the best option, but not everyone can do that, including myself, depending on the bet. So because of that, if you need to bring it out in stages, like I'll bring out the black, then I'll bring out the green, then I'll bring out the red, if you have to go that route, that's fine. As you get more experienced in this, you're going to be able to figure out a little bit more shortcuts and start combining things, and you'll end up getting a lot faster. Just remember that speed comes with time and experience. You're going to start off being very slow, and you'll probably get a lot of stuff wrong in the beginning. Don't get discouraged. It all comes with practice, and you'll end up becoming really good at it. So with that, hopefully this made a little bit of sense. Doesn't really matter which version you decide to go with, whatever makes sense to you. And I'll see you guys in the next video.